What is going on, YouTube? It's Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys good quality VR content. Well, today we're going to be revisiting one of my favorite lists of all time, and that is the top Quest and VR shooters list. And actually this year we're going to do a little different, and we're going to split it into two categories, that being single player story driven, or I should say more single player focused based shooters, and then of course your multiplayer based shooters. So we're gonna have two categories. So there's gonna be 10 shooters in total, 5 for each category. So it's gonna be a pretty exciting list. Guys, super excited. I've got a new sponsor on the channel. I am sponsoring Manscaped. So if you guys are looking to refresh your package area up with some nice grooming, some nice deodorant, maybe a spray, you know, whatever you need, they can take care of you, man. They're the best in men's below the waist grooming, and I've actually had their product for a couple years now. I had the Lawnmower 2.0, which was, you know, what they had back out when I got it. It's been a product that I swear by, and it's really worked great for me. You know, doing all the things that us men gotta do. It really can make a great gift. It's an awesome product. They have their new Lawnmower 4.0 out. These things are waterproof. These things really do prevent cuts and nicks from happening. I mean, they're just such a smooth trimmer, and it really does work amazing. I do highly recommend this. Guys, if you go over to manscaped.com and you use the discount code Mission20, you will get 20% off and free shipping, and you'll really be helping out my channel. So I really do appreciate that. Again, head on over to manscaped.com and use discount code Mission20 for 20% off, free shipping, and you get to help out my channel. So without further ado, make sure you guys do drop a like, subscribe to my channel, and let's go ahead and hop on into the list. All right, so first up, we're going to start with single player story driven experiences, and our first pick on this list is going to be Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. Now, this is a game that had a little bit of a controversial launch, and is that it wasn't really well received right out of the gate, and I still think some people have a vendetta out against this game. And for the life of me, I don't know why. I had such an incredible experience playing this game. I thought they did such an amazing job of pulling from different areas of World War II and kind of fulfilling the general tropes that are associated with, you know, World War II movies or scenes or video games or whatnot. And you got to just kind of be in a bunch of different scenarios that, you know, were really cool. Like, for example, you were able to pilot the turret of a B-17 bomber in a bombing raid. You know, you were up in the mountains fighting off Germans, you know, riding snowmobiles. And then, you know, you had trains crash around you. You had a tank level. Of course, you got to storm the beaches of Normandy. Like, all those things were in this game. And it was a great game. It wasn't the most smooth shooter I've ever played, but it certainly was pretty solid. And I think that this game definitely deserves a revisit, especially if it's on sale or something like that. It is a great game. It took me, I think about 8 hours to get through the story. There is some multiplayer in the game, but it's definitely not multiplayer focused, as I'm pretty sure nobody plays it. But overall, Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, I thought was a really fun and enjoyable experience, and I don't think it gets the credit it deserves. So with our next pick on this list, we have Phantom Covert Ops. Now, Phantom Covert Ops is a really polished VR shooter game. I thought this game was incredible. The graphics were phenomenal in this game. The story is definitely not one to sleep on, as you're really immersed into the title and you really feel like you're part of this world. I thought Phantom Covert Ops did a great job at this. The mechanics work really well. I think the only drawback for me in this game really is the AI can be a little bit dumb at times. This is a stealth game and you're in a freaking kayak, so it's like some of the stuff you get away with in this game, you're like, yeah, right, as if that person didn't see me. But it's okay. It's a little campy, it's a little arcadey, but it also has just that blockbuster action-y feel to it. It's a really solid title. This is one that I think it deserves to be picked up. If you haven't played this one, you definitely need to get your hands on it. It is a lot of fun. The story is engaging, graphics are good, mechanics are good, and you can play it sitting down, which is a plus. I know some people play other games sitting down. I can't. I don't know how people do it, but you can definitely play this one sitting down as you're sitting in a kayak for the entire experience. So with our next game on this list, we have Sweet Surrender VR. Now, this is a roguelike arcadey shooter where there's a lot of replay value here. You got some class systems to work through. You have some upgrades within those classes to work through. You really have a vast array of variety of guns. All the levels feel very different every time you go into them because it's a roguelike shooter. So this game kind of has the roguelike formula, as in it has a ton of replay value to it, and the arcadey type graphics I think actually fit the title very well, and it keeps you immersed. The gameplay is very smooth on this title, And I think it's one where you can kind of blaze your own trail a little bit and, you know, make your own character up and your story up as you go. And it's just overall, this is a fun game. This is definitely one of those shooters that you can pick up and, you know, just get lost in for a couple hours, because the runs are different and what you're going to be doing in each level is going to be totally different. I really do enjoy this game. I think one of the most fun things about it is the total use of creativity when it comes to how you can clear a room. You can do it using explosive melee weapons or the guns, and, you know, or the various things about yourself that you've upgraded. So there's just all kinds of different ways, and, you know, the procedurally generated levels just help the replay value in this game so much. You can really feel like an action hero going around and just, you know, clearing out this massive tower. It's a great game overall. I do highly recommend it. Okay, so with our next game on this list, we have a game that probably will at some point be able to call itself also a multiplayer shooter. We're not quite there yet, and that is Zero Caliber Reloaded, and just Zero Caliber, I guess. Zero Caliber Reloaded is the Quest version of Zero Caliber, and Zero Caliber is the PC VR version. And the devs are right now working on merging those two versions together so that you can have a unified player base. So maybe there'll be some multiplayer if there's still a decent player base in the game at that point. But as far as the single player experiences go, Zero Caliber is actually a pretty solid title. I thought that the story was not amazing or super fascinating and engaging, but there was enough there that if you have a little bit of creativity in your mind, you can go through that storyline and really, you know, feel like you're doing something and partaking in something a little bit bigger than yourself. Aside from that, graphics in this game are absolutely gorgeous, and, you know, the gunplay is pretty solid. I enjoyed the single player aspect of the game. There is some replay value with a survival mode, and you can play this game co-op as well through the single player campaign, which is cool. The vast amount of attachments and gun customization in this game is great. You can go guns blazing on a battlefield with, you know, dual pink revolvers with giant scopes on them, or you can play it a little more tactfully with, you know, just a regular M4 rifle, silence, and, you know, whatnot. There's a lot of customization in this game, and that creates a lot of replay value, and I'm definitely looking forward to the multiplayer updates, and they've done a good job of adding things to this game. The dev team's been pretty active, so I definitely recommend picking up Zero Caliber if you have a chance. All right, and with our final single-player, story-driven experience that is shooter-based, I would have to recommend is Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 in VR is awesome. It is Resident Evil 4, but in VR, and they did the transition really, really well, and I'm actually really... This game kind of made me feel like, okay, well, if they can do this, then what other classic, awesome freaking games can we port over into VR so I can replay them and be like, wow, I forgot how freaking good that game was. That's kind of what this game made me feel. Resident Evil 4 is not only a thrilling experience, because there's definitely some moments in it where you're like, oh, I gotta go in there and I really don't want to, because I either know what's in there, or even if you didn't play the game and you don't know what's in there, you're going to be in for it, and at some point in the game, you're like, oh, crap, I know there's going to be something in there. So it's kind of one of those experiences, but it's fun. It's a great experience. I think they did a great job. Resident Evil 4 is definitely a reason to play VR, and I'm definitely excited to see where more ports come in the future. But if you have not played Resident Evil 4 yet, I definitely recommend it, and it's a game you should absolutely pick up, as it is definitely one of the top single-player VR shooters on the Quest now. Okay, so moving on over to our multiplayer shooters here. And by the way, guys, this list is in no particular order, as I didn't actually rank these games because I probably would have changed up some of the single player ones. And I would change up some of these because I'm going to talk about the first game on this list, which is, in my opinion, the absolute best. So this would be now my number one, and that is Population 1. Population 1, I mean, what more can I say? It has a massive player base. It's probably the most successful VR game, you know, continuing successful VR game that there is currently on the market right now. I just don't see, I mean, I know you can argue Half-Life Alyx is probably the most successful VR game of all time, just based off of initial sales, sure, but, you know, when you come down to continuing play and all that stuff, Population 1 is there. I mean, the player base is super active. You can find a lobby at all hours of the night. Believe me, I know sometimes I'm playing at 5 in the morning. I don't want to talk about that, but there is plenty of players in this game to play with. The gameplay is very smooth. The dev team is constantly updating. They just had a huge update. If you like battle royale games and you've made it this far in the multiplayer list, you're looking for multiplayer shooters, you can't go wrong with this game. It is one of the best video games I've ever played, and I commend them for that. It's an incredible game. I love it. It's my most played VR game. It's a great game. Don't take it from me. Go ahead and buy their game. All right, with my next pick on my multiplayer shooters list here, A game that really touched my heart in a way that I can't explain. Hyperdash. Wow, was this game something that I was not prepared for? When I picked this game up, I was like, oh, it looks like a fun arena shooter. You know, I'll play it for 20 or so hours and probably be done with it, pop a review out for it. I couldn't stop playing it. I kept playing. It was like the community was great. The gameplay was super smooth. It was fast paced. It was electric at times. The soundtrack was incredible in this game. Boy, I had so much fun. I ended up putting over 100 hours into this VR title, and I loved it. I could keep playing it today. If I wasn't just so wrapped up into Population 1, I'd probably still be playing Hyperdash. It's one of the best games. It's honestly one of the best VR games I've ever played. It really is. It's a really fantastic title. The customization, the achievements, just the gameplay loop, it's just a ton of fun. There's a lot of maps, a lot of variety. You can go in there and just really have a great time playing Hyperdash. I can't recommend it enough. I do hope there is still a player base, as I haven't played in a month or two now, so I don't know if there's still a player base, but if there is, it's absolutely worth picking this game up. Okay, so for our multiplayer shooters list here, next pick. There's going to be a little bit of controversy because I'm not including a game on this list that some people are probably like, how could you not include that? And the only reason I can is just because I feel like the game's kind of died off in player base, and in multiplayer games, you kind of need a player base. But this game's going to be Gun Raiders. Listen, if you haven't played Gun Raiders yet on the Oculus platform, it's a free game. Why not pick it up? It's fun. There's plenty of players playing the game. It's a free Oculus shooter. Now, I won't lie to you, there's definitely some little kids playing this game, but if you can tune that out, it's a fun game. I enjoyed it for being free. There's 100 different levels of loot, and especially they just unleashed their new season pass. It's got a lot going on for it. I think it's a really fun game. A lot of people are playing it. You know, there's plenty of things to do in the game. There's plenty of game modes, lots of guns to get. It's a fun game. I think it's absolutely worth your time for free. I mean, again, we're talking about a game you don't have to pay a dime for. If you want to hop in and just, you're not really super competitive, because that's the one thing I'll say is like Hyperdash and Population 1, you've got to be kind of good to enjoy the game. If you're getting killed every 5 seconds and you're losing a lot, I mean, that's not really fun for anybody. And Gun Raiders, I feel like, is definitely a lot more casual than Population 1 and Hyperdash. So if you're looking for more of a casual, free-to-play Oculus Quest shooter, Gun Raiders is your answer. So with our next pick on this list, we are going to be talking about Contractors and the controversy of some games I didn't put on this list. I can already hear people saying, how is this game not on the list? How is this game on the list? Look, I love Onward. Onward has a major place in my heart, as I listed it as one of my top 10 favorite games of all time, but it's just not up to par anymore with a top shooters game that you can get right now in VR. And the other one is Pavlov. People are gonna be like, where's Pavlov? Where's Pavlov? Pavlov is not officially released for Oculus Quest. You can't just download it natively like you can with some of these other games. So that's why those two games are not on here. So we're gonna be talking about Contractors in today's video. Contractors is an amazing Call of Duty-like VR shooter title, and really, I've put a lot of hours into this game. Just the competitive shooterness of it. It's Call of Duty in VR, and actually, on the PC side of things, you can actually mod in Call of Duty maps, and that was a really cool experience. So I definitely like this game a lot. Now, on the Quest side of things is a little different, but what is there in the base gameplay is actually really solid. They did just add a zombie mode to it, so now you can, use the gun mechanics and play against zombies, which is always fun. It's definitely really well done. The game itself is a really polished VR shooter. I think it's probably the best team-based, tactical shooter that you can put on there right now. I mean, it's definitely the Call of Duty in VR. So, Contractors is definitely a really great game. I still think it's absolutely worth picking up. And with our final game on this list for multiplayer shooters, this is kind of an interesting multiplayer shooter, and it is After the Fall. Now, After the Fall is a shooter in nature, and when I say multiplayer, it's because you pretty much have to play with people to enjoy this game. And there is a team deathmatch mode, and I don't understand why. It's really a zombie shooter, but the multiplayer aspect in After the Fall is a lot of fun. The gun mechanics are really smooth in After the Fall, and that's why I really like it as a shooter. I mean, you can really feel your guns changing with different upgrades and the way you reload them, and it's just a little hand placement on it, and the graphics are great on After the Fall. It's a really solid title. They've added a lot since launch too, so it's one that you were kind of waiting on picking up until they added some more stuff. Now might be the time to go ahead and snag it, because they definitely added a good amount of updates since then, and they're looking like they're going to continue to add updates, which is always really important, because if you're going to buy a game that maybe isn't totally complete from what you want it, you know, you're gonna get some more stuff. And definitely After the Fall is adding things. There's already a lot of content in the game. You can enjoy, you know, upwards to, with what they came out on launch, I enjoyed upwards to like 40 hours, 50 hours worth of that before I was like, oh, okay, I've kind of seen everything there is to see in this game. They've added a lot more since then, so I think you can definitely get your money's worth out of this game. After the Fall is absolutely one of the most polished and best VR shooters you can buy right now. Well, guys, that is it for this video. Make sure you guys do drop a like and subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys found a new game or a game you haven't heard of, or just looking to maybe pick up a VR and seeing what kind of shooters there are out there. There's a lot of them, and these were some pretty good ones. And there's even a couple on this list that I didn't mention that are still really good, aka Onward. But there's definitely some good shooters out there. I think it's probably VR's strongest category of games right now. It makes sense. Everybody's been looking for guns and virtual reality. So definitely there. But that is going to be it for today's video. Guys, if you do want to help my channel out, please do go over to manscaped.com and get some products, 20% off and free shipping with code MISSION20. It really does help my channel, and I'm definitely excited as it's an awesome company to be sponsored by. So that is it for today's video. I will see you guys in the next one.